Madre mía las texturas, niño. Madre mía las texturas. Empieza aquí, ¿eh? Espérate que está cargando todo, espérate. Madre mía. A ver, pongo el chat. ¿Se escucha bien?
¿Se escucha bien?
Sí, se escucha bien. Vale. Pongo chat. A ver. Esto por acá, esto por acá. Esto por acá. Ah, por acá. A ver, voy a acomodar cositas. Voy a acomodar cositas. Vale. Walter. Ahora tenía que irme por aquí.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
Me tiro con el niño. Me tiro. Pero ¿por qué no puedo? ¿Hola? Madre mía.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter.
Quiero ver qué tenía aquí. Maqueta.
But if she never told me about an uncle under the house...
¿Maquetas de trenes? ¿Son maquetas de trenes? Espérate. No, parece maqueta de trenes.
I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive.
Aquí tiraba todo lo que comía. Qué asco, ¿no? Imagínate estar 30 años tirando cosas ahí. O sea, eso se llena de mierda. Finocchia.
Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Le gustaban los trenes. Sí, le gustaban los trenes.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
Ok. Pinta, señora, pinta. Uy. Espérate. ¿Puedo ir al otro camino?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me.
Sí. Quiero ir por el otro camino a la casa.
I thought you should know about your family.
Mierda, no puedo ir por aquí. Es que quiero ir por el otro camino. Qué turbio. Un tótem.
And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
¿No puedo? Aquí hay luces para algo, ¿eh? No sé, a que luces para algo, ¿no? En fin. Qué guapo que tenga sensor de movimiento las luces.
And when you look at the house, it had that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness. Any of it seems possible.
¡Pasa! Joder, todo con el joystick. Vale, quiero ir por el otro camino a la casa.
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
Sí, cierto, güey.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Mira. Zurpi, Lurpi, Furpi, Churpi, Burpi, Durpi. Durpi Junior. ¿Cuánto le duraban? Ese le duró 13 años. Ese 7, creo. Le han durado poco, ¿eh? Madre mía, cuánto bicho hay. Bailey, un perro. 2 perros. Joder, cuántos perros, ¿no? Bob, Oliver, Shadow, Christopher. Acá hay una tumba caída, ¿eh? Quiero ver cómo se llama este. Ah, bueno, Bailey. Ay, me pica la oreja.
Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
Vale. Nos fuimos.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
Por aquí había algo, ¿no?
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
¿Y mi trofeo? No hay nada.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Cuanto más mayor. Madre mía. Será cuanto mayor me hago, más entiendo a mi
She
madre.
lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
Monumento. Una mano con una... Ah, con un pincel. F. Qué bien
There's
se
so
ve
many
todo.
things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
Vamos para arriba. ¿Dónde hay un telescopio, tío? Hay un desafío que es mirar por todos los telescopios.
Looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
22 semanas embarazada, ¿eh? ¿Para dónde voy? Embarazada. Subo. ¿Por dónde voy? Ah, aquí, escalera. Fiumba.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
¿Telescopio? Botellas para asustar a las palomas. Ah, no, son comederos para las palomas. ¿Cómo le gustaban los pipis? Aquí no hay alfombra, tío. Es que, ¿por qué ponen una puerta sin alfombrilla? Es que... Ah, la barbecue. Perdón, perdón, ya voy.
They were both pretty intense.
¡Hostia, no! Madre mía, para hacer el desafío de esto.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm? Am I gonna have...
Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. The camera's older than you are.
Aw. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Tengo que encontrar un conejo. Hay un desafío que es encontrar un conejo.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee. Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn,
Del
you
conejo.
don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about—
Dad!
Esta era mi madre, creo, ¿no?
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
Ah, la abuela midiendo. Ah. Sí, este era el abuelo que tenía un hermano gemelo. Sí. ¿No? Creo, no sé.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
¿Y la Hanokia?
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Se viene lo turbio. Se viene lo turbio.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Se iba a casar su padre con otra mujer. ¿Dónde tengo que volarla? No hay nada. Aquí, lol. Ah, mira, esto es lo que se cayó.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder
Tornado.
sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
Chan, chan, chan.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me
Uno
once
menos.
if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Uno menos. Igual, qué esturbio es este, tío. Contrato de divorcio.
Dear Kay, Do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Esto es un desafío, ¿vale? Lo voy a tirar todo.
Time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
¿Vale? ¡Ole!
What his world was like. He reminded me so
Guajajajaja. El típico meme de Guajajajaja. La rana. La rana en plan, what the fuck. A la verga, un ritual. A la verga, un ritual.
Whatever it was, he saw. It sure made him happy.
Ballena flip. ¡Bomba! Tengo que llegar ahí arriba. Ayúdame, ballena.
I know how
¡Vamos! ¡Jabón, jabón!
But I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw.
Guajajajaja.
There's so much I don't understand
Esto tiene copyright, ¿verdad?
about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy.
Besa la luz, Gregory.
And he'd want you to be happy too.
¡Oh, Gregory, hacia la luz!
Love, Sam.
F. Taquillas. ¿Esta mirilla, mirado? Porque está en inglés. Ha sonado algo.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died.
Buenas uñas, Mira, mira, buenas uñas.
At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Sanjay. ¡Su padre es indio! ¡No! Vuelo a India. 10 años para hablar para hablar indio, ¿no? ¿Y qué hago por aquí?
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
¿Y qué más? Ah, ventana.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
Lewis. Me tiro, ¿sabes? Yo quiero un telescopio.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
Down.
I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Se montó aquí una escuela.
But
Estudiaba
it didn't last.
en casa. Daba historias sobre los Finch. Turbio.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
¡Ah! ¡Mirilla!
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Pero... Pero yo quiero el desafío. Cómo le gustaba el dibujo, las maquetas. Yo quiero dormir aquí, pero en invierno es un poco...
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Dibujado.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
F. Baja.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
La puerta que dibujó. Pero he mirado a través de todas las mirillas, que yo sepa, tío.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Me cago en todo su... No hay telescopio aquí. Aquí debería haber un telescopio. O arriba. Me la juego a ver si hay un telescopio arriba. Es que las huellas del niño van a la puerta esta, ¿eh? Da mal rollo. Y también suben por aquí. Es que voy a ver si hay un telescopio, lo siento, tío. Es que quiero el desafío. Pero esto es muy cúpula, aquí no hay una mierda. Hay un mirador ahí. Pero no... No hay un mojón. Pues nada, nos vamos.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
Yo quiero
After he
mirador.
graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
¡Oh, mirilla! ¡Bien!
Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
La cachimba. No me cuenta, el desafío. ¿Hay algo por aquí? Un suicidio. ¿Esto es una barca? ¿O es un avión? ¿Qué coño es esto? ¿Qué es? ¿Un barco?
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
El olor a hierro. Voy al baño. Dejo esta preciosa imagen. Y música relajante. Ay. Porque ahora se viene traumas. Se ha bajado solo la barriga. Ay, madre mía, salió color cafecito, ¿eh? ¿Para dónde vamos? No son tetas, es barriga. Está preñada, 22 semanas.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Que no son tetas. Hostia.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist,
No,
I
la
can
batería.
understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
Hostia, qué guapo.
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In
Estaba muerto en vida, tío.
Rumors of a
Me hago gay, me hago gay. Me hago gay.
beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for sinister serpents.
Si me lo pones delante, pues como que...
He followed the sound of his
No, arpa,
electric
arpa.
sitar.
Da igual. Se jodió la
His
música.
chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
Cada vez es más real, tío.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
¿Qué cojones?
But he was so proud of having created it.
Se me
In his
acabó el
own
pescado.
eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Porque está trabajando, se supone que está trabajando. Está trabajando, pero en su cabeza está pensando en otras cosas. Por eso lo del pez.
He began to forget the world we know.
Mira, ¿ves? Era un fumeta, tío. Era un puto fumeta. Y en su cabeza era todo maravilloso. Mira, una fábrica de pescado.
I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker.
Él no quería ser él. No quería ser este que está aquí delante. No quería ser el trabajador de siempre. Él quería tener su mundo. Mira, ¿ves? En su mente está volando por el espacio todavía. ¿Ves?
I still thought I could save him.
Es lo que ve él. Él se ve que no era feliz.
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
Él no se veía feliz, veía todo, cada vez que veía la realidad, veía todo lleno de pescado. Hasta que decidió
The palace would be packed with his companions.
adentrarse en el mundo que él creó para siempre. Todo esto es su cabeza, ¿eh? Todo esto es su cabeza.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Toma, está guapísimo, tío.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
¡Pelota! Tenía un diploma, ¿eh? La nevera con la cachimba. ¿Para dónde voy? ¿O hay otra salida por ahí? Espérate, espérate. Que a lo mejor me pierdo de algo. No, no hay nada. Aquí. Sí. Era una ay, era un barco esto.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
Su hermano desaparecido, el pintor.
But I understand why we left.
A ver, espérate. Que quiero mirar por los telescopios, las mirillas. Tenía nevera y... ¿Qué tontería? Cada uno tenía su habitación, su nevera...
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Voy a por el otro mando, ¿eh?
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Voy a por el otro mando. Apago este. Vale, ¿cómo se me escucha? A ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, ¿cómo se me escucha? Hello, hello, hello. ¿Cómo se me escucha? Hello. A ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, a ver, ¿cómo se me escucha? Hello, hello, hello. Vale, se me escucha igual. Pues vale. No sé cuánta batería tiene este mando, a ver. En teoría está a tope. Buah, los gatillos están hechos una mierda. Buah, este mando es buenísimo. Pero los gatillos son una mierda.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Vale. Hostia, qué oscuro, ¿no?
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Biblioteca, biblioteca. Ay, no he mirado por la... de esto de la biblioteca, tío.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
Qué bien se
Edith
mueve
has
este
a
bando.
right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Lo único bueno son los joysticks de este mando, tío.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell
Los
you.
botones están hechos
There's
mierda.
only time for one.
O sea, las
This is
palancas.
about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Yo voy para adelante,
I got turned around.
Joder.
I started seeing things.
Servo.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Un coche, una cama, una cocina.
Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go.
No.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone.
Abuela.
After that, we moved around a lot.
Fiomba.
We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Bonico, bonico.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Es hermoso. Cómo
And then I was
transmite. Transmite mucho este juego de mierda.
Last Finch left alive.
¡Ah!
Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you.
El chocho. El
And tell you all
chocho.
these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Los pelos de punta. Mira, nació mañana o pasado. El hijo estaba leyendo el diario de la madre. Es muy turbio. Me encanta. Me voy a intentar sacar los trofeos, va. Ha durado menos de lo que pensaba. Cada una o sea, las fotos están en las historias en las que han participado o qué. El animador de lo de Milton, el del diseño de no sé qué. Ahora viene otra historia, que en esta historia han participado tales personas, diseñador y programador. Sí, creo que sí, ¿eh? Lo del niño. Esta era Molly, ¿no? No, Bárbara. Con la muleta del novio. No insultes, Hanukkah. Un búho, un conejo, un gato y un pato. El astronauta, las conservas. Hasta los créditos están bien hechos. Ay. Vale, tengo que repetir la historia de Edith, creo. Espérate, que me voy a sacar los trofeos, loca. A ver, trofeos. Vuelvo a jugar la historia de Calvin, ¿vale? Vuelvo a jugar la historia de Calvin. Calvin.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did.
No, moriría antes de comerse otro champiñón. Sí soy.
And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly. But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that.
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
Maybe if the wind hadn't picked up. Then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly. And he did.
Terminado.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
¿Completado? Vale.
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
Vale, lo que quiero hacer es ir
Mom said
a...
Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
No voy a ir por ahí. O sea... por aquí. Quiero ver la mirilla de la biblioteca. Está haciendo la cinemática, vale. Otra vez. Ha sonado antes de lo que lo hiciera. Imagínate. Por aquí he venido por la ventana, ¿verdad? No me jodas. ¡Quiero salir! Repetir historia. La historia de Edith. Tengo que repetir la historia de Edith, ¿verdad? Tengo que tomar el otro camino de la casa. Tengo que tomar el otro camino. Fui por arriba, ahora voy a ir por abajo.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Vale, ahora tengo que ir por el otro camino de la puta casa.
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Tengo que coger el camino de abajo y ver la biblioteca, tío.
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
Me queda la biblioteca, tío. Me queda la puta biblioteca.
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Ah, bueno. Pégate de hostias con eso.
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Vale, tomo este camino. Y en teoría me debería contar.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
¿Por dónde voy, niño? Ahora sí que me he perdido. Espérate. Quita árbol. Ah, por aquí.
The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Bien. Otro trofeo. Vamos. Ahora voy a mirar por la mirilla de la biblioteca. Creo que es la única que me falta.
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it. As As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Y si miro por... ¿Hay mirilla en la puerta de la casa? Voy a ver.
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Trampilla del perro. No era una gatera. Eso no es una gatera.
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
Que se duerme, dice. Bueno, yo me estoy pasando el platino. No pasa nada.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth.
Aquí, la mirilla de la biblioteca.
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
¿Puedo entrar a la biblioteca? No puedo.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night.
Vale, mira por todas las mirillas. Me queda un trofeo. En la Play 5 había otro trofeo. En la Play 5 era... ¿Qué otro trofeo era, tío? No me acuerdo. Bueno, da igual. Ah, tío. En serio, había otro trofeo. Aquí tengo que darle vueltas. ¿Me dejará darle vueltas? No.
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara.
Ah, sí, en la Play 5 había un desafío que era encontrar el conejo oculto. Aquí donde el cazador, fotografiar el conejo oculto. Pero aquí no está, aquí solamente tengo que con Molly transformarme en monstruo y dejar que el marinero termine la canción. Bueno. Y el último trofeo que me queda ya. Y lo tengo todo. Qué buen juego, tío. Me gustaría haberme hecho lo del conejo y sacarme el platino, pero si no está en Play 4, pues mira.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
Me va a saltar el copy otra vez con los marineros, ¿verdad?
I kept eating and eating. I ate a lot of things that night. Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly, I was a cat. I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
¿Dónde voy? Buah, yo me estoy perdiendo ya,
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
Ahí.
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
¿Por dónde subo? ¿Por dónde subo? ¿Por aquí? Madre de Dios.
I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits.
Uno menos.
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
La mamá conejo.
A mama rabbit.
Ahí está, la mamá conejo.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
Ahí el corazón ya.
Suddenly, I was a shark.
¿Quién quiere ser un puto tiburón? En medio del bosque.
I rolled off the cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
La foca, la foca.
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper and it tasted really good.
Y la foca, que está sangrando. No veo la foca sangrando. ¿Dónde pollas está la foca? Ahí.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed. Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
Esta es la canción que tiene copyright. Voy a esperar a que suene. Venga, venga. Yo quiero la canción con copyright. Copyright. Yo no sabía que esto tenía copyright. Yo voy a esperar a que termine de cantar. A ver si termina la puta canción. Voy a estar aquí 3 minutos. A ver si para de cantar. La 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 la. La 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 la. No sé si es este marinero el que tiene que cantar. Pero es este o los 3 que quedan. Madre mía, el marinero de la canción. Está más cerca. Lo escucho más cerca. Ahora está cantando. Aquí está la radio. Aquí está la radio de la canción. Deja de cantar, por favor, que me va a saltar el copyright. No sé si es esta canción o la del borracho que está arriba. Por favor, deja de cantar, que me va a saltar, el copyright. Y yo no quiero que me desmoneticen el YouTube. Por favor, deja de cantar. No sé si eres tú. Vale, la canción. Para, canción, por favor. Canción, por favor, deja de cantar. Mira qué polla, perdón, tengo una polla de negro. La 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 la. ¿Ha dejado de sonar? Bueno, supongo que no sería eso. Supongo que no sería eso. Ha empezado otra vez la canción del marinero. Bueno, voy para arriba. Ah, el marinero borracho ha dicho, ¿no? Ah, el marinero borracho, yo aquí, esperando a esta mierda de música que me está saltando el copyright. Me cago en Dios. Joder, macho, el copyright. Aquí. No, copyright. Joder, con la puta cancioncita, ¿no? Joder, macho. Va a vomitar el chaval. ¡Vamos! Vale. A ver, trofeos. ¡Ey! Trofeo. 100%. Ya está, tío. 100% de los trofeos. Ahora voy aquí. Nueva partida. ¿Seguro se borrará tu partida? Sí. Así la voy a revivir desde el minuto 0. A ver. Y ya está, tío. Me he sacado todos los trofeos. ¡Ay, soy feliz! ¡Lo he terminado! ¡Oh! A casa, loco. Qué buen juego.